2. Hello YouTube, now officially channeled Bash the Knight here. As you can see, I am in my full plate regalia. I'm here to first clear up a mistake I made. Let me put down my helmet and explain myself. Now the mistake I made was about my hand-and-a-half sword here, also known as the bastard sword. In my previous video of swords and spears, I made the mistake of saying that this is about 32 inches. That is wrong. Overall, the length of this sword is 38¼ inch long. It is a fine sword. My apologies to Kaz Henway Company. Now, today, I'm going to be reviewing the most famous weeb of weapons, the katana, and its corresponding partner, the wakizashi, in just a moment. Let's get to the katana. And we are back with the katana here. Now, commonly, this has been famous in a folded blade. You see, in feudal Japan, they didn't have that great of a metal resource, so they had to take whatever iron they could and fold it over to help strengthen it. Inside such a historic weapon was a form of mild soft steel as the inner core, and the external core was hardened tempered steel. Now, this is just a replica by the Musha Corporation, or Musha Knives, I'm not entirely sure how it's pronounced. I've had this one for a while. It is a fine carbon steel laminated katana. I'm quite proud of it. In fact, another historical fact, swordsmiths of today, historically... Sorry, there's a fly on the camera. Swordsmiths of today, historically, have always maintained the history by taking large masses of iron sand and then picking off the most oxidized pieces of iron. Very fascinating to know that they held up that tradition. Now, we're going to talk about its corresponding partner, the wakizashi, next. Stay tuned. Here in my hand is now the wakizashi. It is a shorter version of the katana, and actually had a purpose of its own. To some historians, and more accurate historians, the wakizashi was the secondary sword that was commonly used when indoors, as inns did not like people causing too much trouble with their long swords. They were told to please leave them at the door. Now, only the samurai class and other warrior classes and a few thieves managed to acquire such blades, but this particular sword was perfectly allowed, as for its short distance was better for close quarters combat, but also a secondary battle weapon. Like the previous one, this is a carbon steel. I haven't had this as long as I've had the katana. I got the katana at a gun show. I got this on Amazon. Woo, Amazon. Same with all the chunks of my armor, piece by piece, as good gifts from loving family members. Anyway, enough about me talking and being sad. Let's get to cutting some jugs. And we're back now to the jug slash with the katana. As you see, I have removed my gauntlets, as they have been a rather hindrance. Samurai normally had a form of gauntlet, which was primarily a leather glove with a backhanded, sometimes backhanded, metal guard. Now, I know I said before some armors did not have metal, but some of them were actually made of metal. My mistake. Some were actually made out of rather very thick lacquered paper, interestingly enough. That particular armor was used by foot soldiers. But enough chatting. I'm going to start with the typical cut, and try on the side cut, and potentially just a normal stab. In my European armor, let's see how hindering it is. And the audio is good. Now, as you can see, the katana even by our modern day standards, is still very well sharp, as each of my blows consists of one cut, either light or very deep, but primarily an intricate slash, which is why the katana is indeed, in my opinion, a good sword, but for its purposes. Comparing to other swords is a bit of a crime of its own. Now, I'm going to go and prep the next jug and get the wakizashi out. And we are back with the wakizashi. We got a new jug here. As I say in many of my videos, don't worry about the plastic waste. I always recycle after using to help save the planet, make it a little better. Now, as I said before, the wakizashi happens to be a shorter blade, for obvious reasons. It is meant for close quarters combat, and much like its larger counterpart, the katana, it is meant for speed. So, without further ado, and as you can see, with two devastating slashes and one stab, the wakizashi is just as dangerous as its larger brother, or sister, whatever. Its larger counterpart is certainly a devastating weapon, as every longsword should be, but the wakizashi is definitely a quick one, like a scorpion striking fast. And now, just for fun, I'm going to redo my hand-and-a-half sword demo. Please stay tuned. And we are back with the Kaz Headway hand-and-a-half 38.25 inch sword. As I said before, that was my big mistake in the last video. Forgive me, Kaz Headway, and forgive me, viewers, for the misdirection of length. Now, like the katana and wakizashi, this sword can slash, but primarily its style was meant for more hacking than it was for the quick slashes, as this sword was meant for more brute strength than it was for anything else. So, without further ado, as you can see, the first initial stab went in so easily. And now, I'm going to hack it. As you can see from the explosion, though I did a light tap, it has caused a lot of devastation, breaking, and even some puncturing near the cap area. Which is why, though many swords and knives have certain style types, if you know how to use it properly, any sword can be devastating. I don't know how to use most of my swords properly, but I always do my best, as any peasant would. So, you're probably wondering about this small dagger I've had on me this entire video. Well, consider this an Easter egg. Next video, is going to be about certain daggers from the Tanto of Japan, like our katana and wakizashi, and my pierre here, which is a small 16th century French dagger that Kaz Headway also happened to have produced some. Unfortunately, even blood can be very dangerous. So, please, stay tuned. Till the next video, this is Vash the Knight, and I say to you, good day.